He did it for the meme. They abducted the leader of Venezuela because they thought it would look good on the internet.
So in 1991, the famed French philosopher Jean Baudrillard wrote a series of essays called The Gulf War Did Not Take Place. Now, he wasn't saying this in some sort of conspiratorial way in which the war never happened. No. What he was arguing was that essentially the Gulf War, the first invasion of the Gulf by Bush Sr., was essentially the first war which was played out in the media. Wasn't really a war in the traditional sense. It was essentially a media spectacle. Now, if you know Baudrillard's work, he talks about hyperreality, and that is what he was arguing this was. It was a media spectacle. It wasn't a war. It was all predetermined by a hyper powerful militarized imperial outfit against what was essentially a group of people in the desert. But it was played out through our TV screens. They had cameras on the front of the bombs. They had very carefully curated media propaganda. And so ultimately, his argument was that this wasn't a war. It was essentially just another piece of media content. And arguably, look at the ways in which films and computer games have developed in the preceding years, and he's been proved kind of correct. Now, fast forward to 2011 and the dawn of social media, and many people have argued that actually Baudrillard's ideas are now moot because we can get round those machines of propaganda through people on the ground giving us that information in real time. But really, it's only ossified his ideas because what social media has done is it's flattened out that mediascape even further. Indeed, in 2011, Zeynep Tufekci wrote an amazing book called Twitter and Tear Gas, in which she was arguing about the various revolutions that were happening around the world at the time in the Arab Spring and Occupy. That just became another part of the algorithm, bearing in mind that social media at the time was really starting to get more sophisticated, that actually the images of those revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt and various parts of the world were just on the same feed as the ice bucket challenge. And so ultimately it flattened it out even further. And even now in Ukraine and in Gaza, we're seeing the content flood our screens. And yes, there's plenty of us who are incredibly empathetic about this and see this as guilt and actual evidence on the part of the hegemons and what they are doing. But really, a lot of it is just another form of content. And the fact that nothing has actually happened about that would suggest that it's kind of just playing out in that flattened media sphere. So Aidan in this video, like Baudrillard was 35 years ago, is absolutely correct. This is the memification of this conflict, of this war, into content. That's why it's not really a war. It is simply just a form of content which is put alongside our feeds, alongside Marvel movie trailers and K-pop beauty techniques. And whether we're completely appalled by this or whether we're clapping along like seals, we are still watching.